Welcome to another episode of Blam Truckers. I am one of your hosts, Buse.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that?
80% sure.
Ah.
Perhaps 75. And who, pray tell, might you be?
Well, last time I checked, and I may have to check again, I'm Beast, the other host of Blam Truckers. How's it going out there, all you Blam Truckers out there in Blam Trucker land? I hope you're all
We're
having an
fine.
amazing... It's good to hear. I hope you're all having an amazing week. We're coming back at you with a lot of Blam action this week. We're going to be talking about, well, City of Heroes again, and maybe a little speculation on our different superhero things in comic books and sci-fi and all the rest of the crazy stuff that Buse and I love to talk about with each other. Figured we'd share that wonderful conversation with you guys out there in the Blam Trucker land. I can only see half your face from the way that my camera is set up. What are you looking at, buddy?
I was playing with stuff in Riverside.
Down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. All right.
I'm sorry, I'm in a weird mood today. And as anybody who might have watched my Pickle video, you can see that today is the day that I also recorded the Pickle video.
Ah, exciting. Yes. Exciting and scared.
Listen, and in case anyone's wondering, we are neither sponsored by Clausen or Frankfurt, but I will continue to eat these because I bought them and I don't want to waste them.
Are they any good? They sound disgusting.
Imagine, if you will,
I'd rather not.
taking like a vanilla jelly belly bean, a mini marshmallow,
all right,
and a quarter of a dill pickle, mixing them all together, and then eating that. That's what it's like.
Well, it takes all kinds.
Listen, I bought them, and since Mrs. Buse does not want to eat them after she tried one...
Why would she?
You don't want to waste food.
I'm not saying... I think making it was a waste of food. But I don't have to eat them, and clearly there's a market for them. So whoever does enjoy pickle-flavored jelly beans, gummy bears, pickle-flavored jelly beans, more power to you. I'm glad you enjoy them.
You don't like having garlic and dill mixed with, like vanilla flavoring and sugar in your mouth?
As my grandfather used to say, if everybody in this world liked the same thing, everyone would be chasing your grandmother.
Fair enough. I like that. I like that saying.
Thanks. I stole it from Rodney Carrington. Who is a much funnier man than I. As funny looking as I am, that man is funnier looking still.
Understood. Oh, all right. So, you mentioned City of Heroes today.
We will be talking about City of Heroes. That might be for a later video. We're going to be talking about some of the weird builds I built, what a standard build is. The subject that I think you and I would actually end up talking quite a bit about is MMO tactics, especially for tanks.
Ah.
Normally I'd just say line of sight, but I think we're actually going to go into some detail on that.
So we're talking general MMO tactics? Or any specific to games? Or everything?
We'll talk about the general tactics, and then we'll zero in on... We're going to zero in on City of Heroes and how that applies, and why you need to be aware of these things when you're tanking or when you're just being part of the support group, and why it's important for a game that allows you to both play classically, where it's you versus 1 to 2 opponents, or your group versus 1 to 2 opponents, and play in the new style of Zerging, where it's you versus it's your group versus a mass of enemies, a mass of massive enemies, mass. So that'll be part of that conversation. I'm not sure what else you wanted to talk about today. I did want to do the superhero conversation. I also wanted to talk about at some point ruining our childhoods and trying to keep a positive spin on when companies um, change their creative team and their creative direction, and well, they end up destroying the story. But that doesn't mean they destroyed the story that you like, and it doesn't mean that new people aren't going to like the story they tell. Just not me, because I like the old story. That's why I became a fan in the first place, because I liked the old story.
Sounds good.
So we want to talk about that. Anything in the world of geekitude that you want to talk to the viewers about, like unscheduled?
Um, well, I am one episode away, and I will be putting out a separate video that is not part of our normal podcasting schedule uh, on this, but I am one episode away from finishing the new Netflix live action Avatar The Last Airbender. Since we like to keep it positive, I will say this. There are some scenes in it that are great that I wish had been in the cartoon original show.
Yeah,
Uh, there are several fight scenes which look amazing,
that's good.
and there are several actors in it who, at least once the first episode got through, that I think are fantastic and fit the roles perfectly.
Awesome.
And like I said, I want to stay positive. So what's the next?
Oh, wow. Damning with faint praise. That's what we call it. That was what my review on Facebook was of episode 2. I don't know if you remember this. It's not really a particularly noteworthy
And by
um,
episode 2, he means Star Wars episode
Star
2,
Wars
not episode
episode
2 of
2.
Netflix.
Not episode 2. It was actually episode 8. It was
Oh, okay.
the
Last Jedi?
Last
No, not
Jedi.
Last Jedi. Yeah,
Yeah,
Last
Last
Jedi.
Jedi.
Yeah.
My review of The Last Jedi, because I didn't want to say anything negative, was well, that movie had high production values.
Okay, so I'm apparently giving Netflix's Avatar much higher praise than you gave Last Jedi. So
You're not saying, look, The
it's
Last Jedi was not. On my first viewing, I had a serious problems with the story of that movie.
Mhm.
Um, it was very poorly told, and that's not even getting into all the other aspects that you can critique and compare and contrast in a movie. Something I love to do with movies. I love tearing them apart, putting them back together, finding out what works, what doesn't work, why I like something, why I don't like something. Uh, yeah, that's with something I love. I don't really do that with The Last Jedi because I didn't love it, which is
Fair enough.
okay. It wasn't made for me. You know, it made its money back in the theaters theoretically.
And yeah, and when it comes
Hmm.
to Netflix's Avatar, I I'm not going to say that I haven't enjoyed like a decent portion of my time watching it. It is enjoyable. I just enjoyed the original series more.
Hmm.
I think if the original series did not exist, I would probably like this more. But I also think that if the original series did not exist, this would likely not be renewed for a second season.
See, if I was going to do something like this, like a live action retelling, I'd either do a shot for shot remake, same scenes, not if not exactly shot for shot, then similar to it. Like this basically retelling the same story but in live action, which is what a live action adaptation generally is. Maybe shot from different angles, maybe emphasize certain plots a certain way. I wouldn't shuffle up the way the story is told much. Maybe a little bit, depending on. There's different restrictions on live action versus animation. Animation, as long as you can draw it, you can put it on the screen. Live
Mm-hmm.
action, you have other considerations to make, and whether or not you can actually make the shot work in reality. Um, so I get that, and I get why they have to do that from time to time. But I would tell, if I couldn't do that, I would tell the story from a completely different point of view, but I wouldn't change the story.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be something interesting. Maybe tell the story, I don't know. I just don't know. So much of it has to be told from the perspective it was told, so we can, because it's not. You might do the story like limit it down, so you go from a relatively omniscient narrator, because we see scenes that happen even when the characters aren't there, or
Yeah.
only when our characters are there. But it can jump to conversations between Zhao and another general. Well, what if we did, or not a general, whoever it was. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So it's a relatively in the original story, it's a relatively omniscient point of view. What if we limit that down to just one character's point of view? Tell the story completely from Aang's point of view, so we only see Zuko when Zuko interacts with Aang. We never find out what happens to Appa when Appa's lost. We never see what happens to the other characters. We only get that from, and that would allow you to pare it down, not tear it down, pare it down into a like a movie's worth of time period instead of an entire series, or even a mini series.
I mean, as it is, this is longer technically than season one of Avatar because I think or close to it, because it's all, well, one, there's no commercials and they're over an hour each of the episodes.
How many episodes
Uh,
are there? 40?
eight,
45? 50?
eight for the season one, and the original one had like 20 something. But those were like 20 something minute episodes, and
Well,
so
let's see. Stop. Bringing up my calculator. 23 minutes times. How many episodes did you say it was? Say 20 episodes? It's probably 20.
it's 20 something. Here, we'll
We're going to now, folks. Hold on to your lug nuts. It's time for an overhaul.
and this is the magic of editing,
Yeah, right.
which I may or may not use. We'll see. Uh, Season one, as opposed to, or I guess I should go season one, Um,
Appa Appa Momo, Appa
20,
Appa Momo.
20 in the regular
So
series.
20 times
Mm-hmm.
roughly 23 minutes per episode
Yep.
is 460 minutes. Divided by 60, 60 minutes to the hour, is 7.666 repeating hours. So 7 and 2/3
So,
hours is pretty close.
yeah, so, yeah, but each of the Netflix episodes are over an hour.
So you're saying it's 8 episodes times a little over 8 hours. So we're
The
losing maybe.
Netflix has more time.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying it's close.
I'm not I'm not saying you're disagreeing, and I agree with you. It's close. Just because I talk excitedly, it does not mean I disagree with you. This is what my family does.
It's nice to be part of the family. So, little
You
Avatar.
definitely are.
We are not. We're not going to get into any politics. Oh, I wasn't planning on talking about the WWE this week, but once again, The Rock, the hard place, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, surprised me again this week in SmackDown, which was yesterday. We're recording on Saturday. He actually acknowledged Roman Reigns as his tribal chief, which that was
Cool.
going to be his entire storyline for coming back for the WWE for WrestleMania. Was he's going to face off against Roman Reigns. They set it up. They started doing the whole setup for that. The fans said, "No, we want Cody Rhodes to finish his story at WrestleMania. You've started telling this story. We want the story." Which just goes to show you, all you fans out there in Blam Blam Truckerland, you want good stories. I want good stories. People want good stories. We're telling not just the WWE this, but all of Hollywood. That's what we're looking for, is good stories. So when the fans all said that, Rock went heel. He became the bad guy for the first time in 20 odd years. And first up, he's great being a bad guy. If he had been this good of a bad guy in Black Adam, I think the movie would have done better. So he goes heel for the first time in 20 years, and he does a great job at it. No one saw that coming because everybody loves Dwayne Johnson. But The Rock is not Dwayne Johnson. It's a persona.
Hmm.
So he did that, and then this week he acknowledged Roman Reigns as his tribal chief. Sorry, didn't expect that. I expected something else. Um, yeah, that could build into something later, but right now he's like, nope, he's family. I'm acknowledging him as family. And he called the audience a bunch of bad names that I'm not going to repeat, mostly because I can't remember them, not because they were particularly offensive. He likes to use other words like jabroni, for all of you WWE fans out there who know that. Jabroni! For all of you who don't, jabroni! Um, yeah, it's impressive watching them, though I think in a lot of ways the ship is still sinking with all the sexual allegations that are going on from behind the scenes and all the information that's coming to light. I don't know. It's a weird place to be a fan of something when you're not a fan of the people behind it, who were behind it anyway for most of your life. When you find out how some of the awful things they've done. Anything else you
And
want to add? Go ahead.
apparently, he now got the IP rights to, which I don't know. I'm assuming it applies mostly just in WWE for his name, The Rock, Candy Ass, Jabroni. Rudy Poo. I have no idea what Rudy Poo is. I don't watch much, so I'm guessing he used it.
Oh
And as
yeah,
well as
he used to tell people he would take his boot and turn it sideways and stick it up the Rudy Poo candy ass. You
oh,
jabroni. It's not as insulting when I say it. I'm gonna take my boot and turn it sideways, and I think I'm gonna stick it up your Rudy Poo candy ass, you jabroni.
so what you're saying is what the way he would probably say it is, and I'm gonna take this cup right here, turn it sideways, and shove it straight up your Rudy Poo candy ass.
Yeah,
He does
that's closer.
but
So, fun Avatar fact: Mick Foley, whose name I couldn't remember a couple of weeks ago, while I was listing all of his wrestling personas, like Mankind and Cactus Jack and Dude Love. Mick Foley actually plays the voice of the
the
Boulder
boulder.
in Avatar, the cartoon. So he's imitating Rock. He's playing he's playing a character called the Boulder, who's imitating Rock as an Earthbender in a pro wrestling style parody inside of a kid's cartoon. The Boulder is conflicted about fighting a little girl.
Okay, Pebble.
The Boulder no longer feels conflicted. I
Oh.
hear when I do that, I hear a lot more of Macho Man than I do The Rock. But
Hmm. I was in my mind. I haven't finished it yet, and I don't know if I ever will, or if it'll end up on air. But I was thinking about trying to do a parody of the Method Man song that I did a verse or half a
oh,
verse last week.
for the
Um,
Boulder,
yeah, I just things you do things that come through your mind when you're washing dishes. Just saying. So
those Zen moments in life. All
mhm.
right, are we ready to stop?
Yeah. So I guess this will just be part one, various musing thoughts and news. Uh, I feel like that's what I'll have to name it.
Just call it in week's intro if we even make it a part one. Um, I might as well do this one now. Anybody who knows somebody over at DC Movies or Warner Brothers, I'd love to pitch a movie you guys' way, at least one. Um, Anybody who knows David Zaslav, or if this is you find this after he's sold his shares or moved on or wherever, God bless him in his career, whatever. Um, yeah, if you know somebody over at DC, have them give us a shout here on the channel so we can get in contact and maybe let me do a movie pitch.
Sounds good.
All right,
All right.
guys.
See you, truckers. Let me move over more in the front of the camera. Now I'll say it. See you, truckers.